What's up, and welcome to episode 45 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me is the FIBA Women's World Cup superfan, Woody V. Woods, how's it going?
Great to be here, Robbie, and yeah, it's been fun, man, going out and watching as many games as I could at the World Cup, but yeah.
Definitely. No, looking forward to talk about a few of those games, and we should say at the time of recording it's around 7:40 on Thursday the 29th, so the Opals game will be starting. Hopefully we can finish this just in time and get to the game. So we probably won't talk too much about the upcoming game, given it'll obviously be done by the time this releases, but looking forward to it. So look, just the usual reminders, guys. Please, like, rate and subscribe on YouTube and where all podcasts are found. Spread the word, and thanks for all your support. All right, Woods, let's get into it as we do every week. Why don't you take us away and tell us what jersey you've got this week?
Yeah, sure, man. Why don't you take the viewers through it? Yep.
Sounds good. So Woody's standing up wearing a very nice-looking Phoenix, Southeast Phoenix Mitch Creek jersey. It's the special Looney Tunes one from a few years ago. Haven't seen that jersey before, Woods. It's a nice looking one.
It's the one with the Marvin the Martian on it. It's the Looney Tunes jersey. Just a little bit about Mitch Creek. He plays for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, as you know, with the jersey, but he began his NBL career with the Adelaide 36ers in 2010. He spent 8 years with the team, helping them reach a couple of grand finals and one minor premiership. He's had all NBL second team honors, went to the Australian Institute of Sport, had a sip of coffee in the NBA with the Brooklyn Nets, and I think it was at the Boston Celtics Minnesota Timberwolves it was, wasn't it?
Minnesota.
Yep, that's right. Yep. And yeah, man, had a pretty good time at the G League, and we'll get into it later when we do our Southeast Melbourne Phoenix preview. But he's brought along one of his friends to join the team, originating from Horsham in Victoria. He's just a bit of a Swiss Army knife. He can do a bit of everything on the floor. Unfortunately, his NBA career didn't go beyond 5 games, but he's quality in the NBL, and he's going to be a big part of.
He's got that on the resume forever now, doesn't he, Woods? NBA player forever.
He does have it on a resume forever, Robbie. But he's actually 3-time All NBL second team, and NBL Fans MVP in 2018 as well. So he does have a few accolades in the NBL. He's one of those players that's just an outstanding NBL player. At least he can say that he's played in the NBA. And this year, as I said earlier, he's going to be vital to the chances of Southeast Melbourne. He's that leader on and off the floor for that team. And a great jersey. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is a nice one, isn't it? I've actually got a Mitch Creek one myself, but I don't have the Looney Tunes one. I've just got kind of the normal one. So, Very nice, Woods. I like that one. Well, look, I'll take us away. So, look, again, continuing the theme with the NBA, NBL double. So, the one hanging behind me is probably a little bit of a clue about which team I might be previewing today. So, yeah, I'll just tell you a little bit about the one I'm hanging up. So, it's none other than a Mark Worthington Melbourne United jersey. So pretty random one there. So I thought it'd be fitting to hang that one, Woods. He's obviously a player who I really admired throughout his career, not just because he's a fellow West Aussie, but I did really like the way he sort of went about it. Though played in the NBL from 2005 to 2017. He played for Sydney, Melbourne Tigers, Gold Coast Blaze. Remember them, Woods?
Yeah, sure do.
And then also Melbourne United. He finished his 335-game career with Cairns. He was also part of the 2008 and 2012 Australian Boomers Olympic team. And perhaps one of those biggest what-ifs for me if he had ever returned for his hometown Wildcats. And there's a bit of a long list of those, Perth boys there that never ended up playing for the Wildcats, but nonetheless, a great career there. And look, I'll just up and show the one I'm wearing today. A bit of a random sort of retro one. I mentioned last week how much I like those old Nike NBA jerseys, so I thought I'd rock another one this week. So I'll just stand up and show you that one.
And for those who can't see, Robbie's wearing the yellow Shareef Abdur-Rahim Atlanta.
Not a lot of these jerseys going around, is there? Was you ever seen another one of these?
No, I haven't actually. Yeah,
it's a pretty random one. Yeah, so look, he's wearing the Hawks retro Nike yellow jersey. This is actually based on Atlanta Hawks jerseys that were worn in 1974. So pretty cool throwback, this one. So a little bit about Reef. Played 12 years in the NBA after getting drafted at pick 3 by Vancouver in the 1996 NBA draft out of California. Woods, love putting you on the spot. Who were the 2 players drafted ahead of him in that 96 draft?
Okay.
A little guy and a big guy.
Damon Stoudemire. No,
Nah,
he was
that's
the year
after that.
before. No, he was the year before, wasn't it?
I'm
96.
waiting for you to give me the answer. Can I just give you the answer, Woods?
Okay. Say again. What's the clue?
Woods, I need the answer. I need the answer. Come on,
Oh,
what's the answer?
Allen Iverson,
Yeah,
and was it Theo
big guy.
Ratliff? No.
Nah, Marcus Camby.
Marcus Camby. Okay. Yep.
Marcus Camby. Yeah, I like putting him on the spot. I like that.
Definitely.
So look, yeah, he played for the Hawks, Blazers, and Sacramento. His career was cut short a little bit by knee injury, so he didn't have the longest careers there. He's got a reasonable resume. He's a one-time All-Star in 2002 while playing with the Mighty Hawks, I might add. He was also an all-rookie team member and was, of course, a member of the USA Olympic team in Sydney 2000. So I think I saw something yesterday that it was 22 years since Vince Carter jumped over a 7-foot Frenchman, Frederick Weiss. So, yeah, I remember seeing Reef back in those games there.
Yep.
So one surprising stat about Rahim there, Woods, he only played one playoff series his entire career. I think it's one of the longest sort of droughts without making the playoffs. And that was actually in 2006 at the end of his career with Sacramento, surprisingly.
Right.
So all those years with the Hawks, they never actually made the playoffs. So he's actually the current president of the NBA G League. So he's obviously still pretty relevant there. Checking his basketball reference boards, he was actually part of a pretty big trade, actually, that when the Hawks moved him on. I'm not sure if you remember that. It had kind of slipped my mind. So basically, he was traded by Vancouver along with Jamal Tinsley. I'm not sure if he had his broom that he used in that fight at Malice in the Palace then, to the Atlanta Hawks for Brevin Knight, rest in peace Lorenzen Wright, and also Pau Gasol. So not sure that the Hawks won that trade, to be completely honest. I wouldn't have mind seeing Pau Gasol in those Hawks uniforms. So I did mention last week, didn't I? There hasn't been a bobblehead for a few weeks, so I'm going to change that tonight. So here's a nice looking 2003 Shareef Abdur-Rahim Atlanta Hawks bobblehead. Been waiting to show that one for a while. So, yeah, so good to get the bobbleheads back going again anyway. So, all right, good stuff, Woods. Appreciate the jersey stuff there. So, look, we might get straight into a little bit of talk about the FIBA Women's World Cup. What do you reckon, Woods? So,
yeah, let's do it, man.
We did call you the super fan. Yeah, we called you the super fan.
In fact, let me show you something.
I want to sort of throw this to you. All right, what do you got? You got some props. Oh, very nice. Woody's wearing his World Cup Australia 2022 shirt, just for those that are listening to the audio. So a nice shirt there, Woods. And yeah, why don't you tell the viewers, Woods, because you've been out to what, three days or three?
I've been to 8 games.
You've seen a lot of games now, haven't you? Over those.
Yep.
So 8 games total, yeah. So what are your thoughts been about those games so far? Tell us what the experience has been like, and yeah, tell us your thoughts on that.
Look, I've loved every minute of it, Robbie. I've watched 8 games live, as I told you, and some of the talent on show has just been unreal. And just to see the outpouring of support by Sydney-siders, it's been really heartwarming. I've become a huge fan of the women's basketball, in general on the back of this, and I'll be watching as much as I can going forward. I'm actually really excited for the WNBL season to begin shortly. And a big shout out, to Basketball Australia for putting on the show that they have. It's been great, and just to see the crowds in there has been really, really good to see, man. Yeah.
It does seem funny hearing it called the Sydney Superdome, doesn't it? When I heard that the other day, I'm like, hang on, is that the old State Sports Centre? But it's one of those deals where they can't use the sponsor name sort of thing. So, of course, we know it as Kudos Arena there. So, and tell us about that Saturday night, Woods. I know you caught up with, a great friend of the podcast and our guest last week in Jacinto. How was that? I believe you sort of caught up with a few people and enjoyed yourself there.
Yeah, look, it was a Saturday lunch actually, right, Robbie? We were out at Redfern, and yeah, big shout out to Squint for organising that lunch for all of us basketball people to get together. It was a great networking event. I caught up with Mary and Paul from the Shooting the Breeze podcast, really nice people, and had a really interesting chat with them. Lorenzo from Throwback Store, Lorenzo from Throwback Store put together a little suite of cards for the Opals, and he's come up with a prototype about what the cards should look like, and he gave us all like a little pack. So shout out to Lorenzo for doing that for all the Opals in collector's cards. It was really nice to chat to him. Mookie, who you know, Robbie, from doing a lot of work with the NBL One, and a good friend of Matt McQuaid, friend of the show. He's done a lot, of course, for basketball. Done a lot for basketball in New South Wales and Australia. And honestly, he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And we just really hit it off and got along really well. And he's like, we should catch up. one day, the three of us, and just have a chat, talk hoops. And finally, the Mills twins were there. Of course, Liz Mills is a pioneer in what she's done, leading the Kenyan national team. The only female coach to lead a men's national team. That's one of her many accolades. So it was just a great networking event. It was an honor to meet some great people. And once again, huge props to Jacinta for bringing us all together. And it was real fun.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, mate. Well, I thought I'd check as well. So as I mentioned, we're sort of, the quarterfinals of, 3 of the 4 have been played today. So just wanted to see what your thoughts were on the Opals so far, Wood. So obviously we lost that first game to France there, but ended up topping the pool with a 4-1 record there. So, what are your thoughts been on the Opals in those 5 games they played?
Unreal. They've been so fun to watch. I mean, they've not got a true point guard. I mean, you can see sometimes that's been a bit of a problem. So they've done a little bit by committee, but it's worked. And that win against Canada was so much fun to watch. I know you watched that as well. And
that was a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was amazing, man. And the one thing, Beck Allen had that serious rib injury, but it looks like she'll suit up. In fact, I just saw on the TV tonight in the locker room, she's suiting up tonight for the quarterfinal, and she's a serious hooper, man. And having her back today against Belgium is going to be awesome. So really happy that she's back, and it is my birthday tomorrow, and the best birthday present I could possibly get would be for Australia to win today and then tomorrow, even to get to the gold medal game. I know you and me are going out to that doubleheader bronze and gold medal game on Saturday. So
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, we're obviously sort of going out there, and I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, you've been there sort of 3 separate times now, but I'm just crossing everything that obviously the Opals win tonight, because I'd be gutted if I went Saturday and wasn't able to see them. But like you said, hopefully they do the business over Belgium tonight, and we saw that China got up against France, so that would be the opponent for whoever wins that
and
game.
then USA versus Canada and the other side of the draw, right? So
USA struggled a little bit earlier against Serbia, didn't they, tonight?
Serbia's looked pretty good this whole tournament.
Serbia looked pretty good.
Yeah.
No, certainly a good sort of crowd they have there and everything as well. So, look, give us a tip, Woods. I mean, is there anyone that's a chance of upsetting the US, or is it just a formality that they win it?
It's a formality, man. I'd like to think that our Opals have a chance, but they'd have to be unbelievable, and the USA would have to have a very bad day for anything to happen. But I mean, I'd still like to see that gold medal game between the Opals and USA. When the pressure's on in a game and there's a lot at stake, sometimes the pressure can get to the best of anybody. So I'm thinking it's going to be a Canada-China bronze medal game and a USA-Australia gold medal game.
So you think we'll beat Belgium and then we'll go on to beat China
that's exactly
tomorrow night, right?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
And that's pretty big to back up, isn't it? So quarterfinal tonight, semi-final tomorrow, and then obviously the medal sort of games on Saturday. So it'll be a little bit of survival of the fittest and which teams can use their...
But brother, it's been the same for all teams, and everyone's been playing games back to back, day to day. So it's not like it's different for any of these teams. There's 12 teams that have been going at it hard for the last week and a half. So I mean, it's fair for everyone. Yeah.
No, good point. Well, appreciate that, Woods. Yeah, we'll certainly give a bit of a final wrap up next week of how the games ended up there. And look, fingers crossed the Opals obviously get there and do some damage in those games there. So,
sure thing,
all right, good stuff. Well, we might move on to our final 2 NBL team previews, Woods. We actually timed this pretty well, didn't we? We've got 2 teams to go, and the season starts in 2 days. So we'll get those out now. And look, for those that have been regularly watching, they'll know we've sort of haven't done the 2 Melbourne teams yet. So, Woody's just going to put up the roster, the depth chart there for Melbourne United. So look, I'll take us away with that, Woods. I guess just for me, very, very different team this season, isn't it? With United losing their 3 talented Aussies, 2 of them, of course, to the NBA in Delhi and Jack White. Look, they finished on top of the ladder for the 2nd year in a row last year with a 20-8 record before being absolutely shocked by the Jack Jumpers in the semi-finals. So look, I think my overall thoughts on this team, Woody, this season, it's a little bit guarded. I think it will depend on a lot of these new additions and how well they can actually mesh together. Obviously, that season-ending injury to Ariel Hukporti was a real shame, wasn't it?
It was.
I think most people were really excited to see how he would perform in year 2. So, it's interesting when you look at the team. I mean, in terms of, we'll go through the depth chart now, but it's really only 2 sort of key or core players that are returning actually in Golding and Shea Ili there. You've got, Peatling and Newley and Barlow sort of returning back. But it's really only those two core players. So look, the main new players there are Ray John Tucker, who put a little bit of a target on his back there by saying he's the best import in the NBL. Which I don't mind the guy's confidence saying that.
What's he going to say? What else is he going to say?
He'll be backing it up now. Yeah, exactly. And we don't know how that question was asked. It was probably like, "Are you the best?" And he probably said yes. And now it's like a headline that Tucker said he's the best sort of thing. Jordan Caroline. So I'm wondering, Woods, how long it'll take the United home games there for them to play that sweet Caroline song. I think it's by Neil Diamond. I'm not.
It is by Neil Diamond.
Fan of that genre of music, but it is. Yeah, I reckon they'll be playing that. Xavier Rathan Mays, who was with the Hawks last year.
How do you say it?
Isaac Humphries, who's certainly going to be a crucial player. Well, I don't know. They change it every game. So Rathan Mays, Rathan Mays, you can just pick whatever you want on the day there. Even Coach Jacob Jackomas wasn't really totally able to confirm that for us, was it? So they just call him X. So we'll just run with X anyway. So Isaac Humphries is obviously the real big sort of signing there. Really talented player. We know he's played some games with our Hawks there, Atlanta Hawks back in the day. So, and look, the rest of the players there, I'm not going to go through all of those. They've signed Maliwak, who was pretty good for the Darwin Salties last year. A couple of sort of DP type players and players that played in the NBL 1. So in terms of that depth chart there, Wood. So obviously the point guard sort of position. We've got X there at point guard. I'm not sure if he'll totally play that the whole time, but obviously Shea Illy, sort of the Chris Golding, the returning player, starting shooting guard there. The small forward position worries me on this team. Obviously, we've got Ray John Tucker, but if the backup to him is Newley, I'm a little bit concerned about that, to be honest. Power forward, we've got Sweet Caroline, Mason Peatling, and old man Dave Barlow.
Well, he retired. He retired, and then he
did for about a day.
And he turned it around.
And he threw down a big dunk at the Blitz, right?
So yeah.
And then at the centre position, we've got Isaac Humphries, who I mentioned, and Okawera there. So I don't know, Wood, you can take that down if you want. I'll talk a little bit more about it. So look, in terms of my thoughts there on United, look, probably sitting on the fence a little bit. I reckon they might sort of finish maybe between 3rd and 6th. So maybe about 50-50 to make the playoffs, I would have thought. Certainly be watching this team with interest. In terms of, we've sort of gone through and given a bit of a fantasy start and a fantasy sleeper there, Wood. So I'll have to say Ray John Tucker for the fantasy start. He's the best import in the NBL after all. Look, I found the sleeper a little bit tough on this one. I'm going to say Maliwak, just sort of noting the team's lack of depth at the 3 and the 4 position. He was a pretty exciting player for the Salties in the NBL 1 last year, threw down that just ridiculous dunk that was literally getting shown all around the world, that one there. So, looking forward to see how he goes there. So, I guess that's my thoughts on United there, Woods. I don't know, give us a quick thought on how you think they'll go.
Honestly, man, there's not a lot of depth in that team, and obviously with Huck Porty getting injured now, right? You've got Isaac Humphries at centre, whose injury history is very dicey. You don't know how fit he's going to be this year. Then you've got David Okawera as the backup center. They need to go out and get a big man. Yeah. They really do. You can't rely on that. And you look at Zach Triplett and Brad Newley and David Barlow. I mean, I am absolutely not convinced by this team, man. And a lot of people are high on them.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I think they're really going to struggle to even make that top 6 this year. Yeah, maybe I'm going to get berated for saying that, but, this is my thoughts, yeah?
No, well, certainly lost, a lot of their talented players. They're, of course, the team with the longest playoff streak at the moment as well, so that could potentially be in a little bit of jeopardy this season. But, nice one. Well, that's my take on United there. Why don't you take us away with the Southeast preview there, Woods, and that'll sort of wrap up our team previews.
Yeah, sure. Just bring it up on the screen there. Can you see that, Robbie?
I can see it well, mate.
Okay, terrific. So, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, I'll quickly, for the people who can't see, go through the roster for the year. So, returning, we've got Coach Simon Mitchell, Mitch Creek, Ryan Brokoff, Carl Adnan, Dane Penau, Ruben Tarangi, Owen Foxwell as a DP, and Toby Smith-Milner, who had a really good Asia Cup, right? As you know, he was in the starting 5, Robbie, All-Star 5.
Yep.
And Joe Chi was just announced a couple of days ago as coming back, so it's a huge coup for them to have Joe Chi back. And we got Alan Williams, friend of Mitch Creek from the G League, Gary Brown from Puerto Rico, Trey Kell, who's got a lot of believers and he comes with a great pedigree. Junior Medud, who's really impressed in the Blitz. and then a few other DP players, right? So the depth chart as it stands, it's Brown, Adnam, and Foxwell at the point guard position, Kell and Madut at shooting guard, Brokoff and Tarangi at small forward, Creek and Anticevic, who looks good as well, man. You saw him in the blitz a little bit. This guy he's a bit of a stretch forward, likes to shoot the three. And you got Joe Chi, Alan Williams, who might slide up to the 4, obviously, and Dane Pinnow, who's had an injury-riddled time in the NBL, since that big year that he had. So hopefully we can see him fit and ready to go. So I'll be quickly go through my thoughts. Gary Brown, floor general, right? And we've spoken about on this show before, Robbie. They've had Robertson, they've had Sykes in the past, score first point guards. So let's see how they go with an experienced vet. This Puerto Rican, he's played all around the world, and he's going to be able to set up his teammates and get them into their sets nicely. So this is a kind of different type of point guard they got on the team, and let's just see how the others, Mitch Creek, Ryan Brokoff, play alongside a pass first point guard, right? And speaking of Mitch Creek, wearing his jersey today, he lead that team, and he's brought his G League teammate and friend Alan Williams along, as I said, who we've already seen in the preseason. And I'm telling you, Robbie, right now, he could lead the league in rebounds. He's an absolute beast on the glass, right? But provided one thing.
He could also lead the league in fouls.
Yes,
as well.
Exactly. He took the words out of my mouth, man. These guys come from the America, and they don't know how the FIBA rules are officiated, and they struggle with fouls, right? And that's the one thing here on like what Brandon Clark they had last year. Was it Brandon Clark? Southeast, what's his name? I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. It's Brandon. It's not Clark. It's
Brandon Clark's from Philly, right? But yeah, anyway, he was a foul-prone big man. You know what I mean? And they've got another foul-prone big man this year. So the thing is about him staying in the game, because we saw him get fouled out quite quickly in the blitz, right? And look, they lacked a bit of size, to be fair, until we heard this week of Joe Cheek coming. You had Alan Williams at 6'7", 6'8". You had Dane Pinnow. They didn't really have a genuine big in there. So having Joe Chi is going to be good. And Junior Medal.
Brandon Ashley there.
Brandon Ashley. Sorry, my bad. I always confuse him and Brandon Clark from Memphis, right? So, Junior Madut, sleep. This guy, he really, really impressed me. In the blitz, man. This guy can come off the bench and he can light it up. He can shoot. Off the dribble, he can catch and shoot, and while we're going down that path, he's my fantasy sleeper. He's not worth a lot, and if you looked at that depth chart that I just brought up, he's second as shooting guard off the bench, so he could play some significant minutes, and he's my fantasy sleeper, and my fantasy stud is going to be Mitch Creek, man. He's going to be Swiss Army knife, going to do a bit of everything.
Yeah,
he's the guy, right? And I think I summed it up pretty well, though, Robbie. But if you got any thoughts,
yeah, I gotta say, Woods, I'm actually really high on this team. I saw the overs and unders for them today for Southeast Melbourne. That was like 12, 11 and a half or 12 or something. I think they'll go well over that. I like this roster a lot more than United that I spoke about before. They're huge. I mean, look at that front line there with Joe Chi, Williams, and then even Dane Pinnow. If he can stay healthy, he'll be great. I do like this team. I think they could cause a little bit of damage. Obviously, we want to see how how they go with the imports there. That'll be sort of the big test for them. But yeah, quite like what I'm seeing so far with this.
I'm not as high as you. I think they'll make the top 6, but not the top 4. I think that's about right. The overs and unders. What do you say? 12.5.
Something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they went 16 or 17. So I've got them making the top 4. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if the injury broke off, if he's going to stay fit. Okay, maybe you're right. And I think having Joe Chi changes everything. It changes everything, right? So yeah,
huge, isn't it? Someone that knows that system, that knows the league well, and that it's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if he was like trying to get another offer, because obviously,
United nearly got him.
Coming out that there was.
United nearly got him. Did you know that? Right? Yeah. And
he's not going to be here for a few weeks either. I heard, right?
He's going to miss the first couple of rounds.
Week 3 or something.
Yeah, I think mid-October will be. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well, appreciate that, Woods. Good sort of preview there. And, that takes us to the end of the 10-team previews there. So, of course, as I mentioned, we're recording on the Thursday night. So we're about less than 48 hours away now, Woods, from the first game on Saturday night there. So I thought maybe you could bring up the slides there, and we might just quickly go through those. So maybe I'll read them out, Woods. You can just give us a quick thought. So starting off with a double header on Saturday. So we've got Southeast Melbourne, who we just talked about, against Tasmania. Your thoughts on that game?
Southeast Melbourne should take that. They're playing at home. I'm not overly convinced about this Jank Jumpers team, right? So I'm gonna go Southeast Melbourne. I mean, they don't have Joe Chi yet, but at home, I think they should get the job done at John Cain.
Yeah, and then we've got the big game, don't we? After that, I know you'll be keen to watch that when we finish up with watching that gold medal game on Saturday. So we've got Illawarra taking on the championship winning Sydney Kings.
Well, the gold medal game finished around 7:30. We can't go to the pub afterwards, eh? We got to go home, right?
No, I think it starts at 4:30, so that'll be done by about 6:30. So plenty of time to get home in time for that.
Yes, it does. I'll finish at 6:30. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Woods, I've got to ask again as well. We're getting a big delay here. Is your wife on Netflix tonight, or what is it she's watching tonight that's causing your internet to play up?
My internet's good.
You said that twice already, and then you'll report back and say, oh, yeah, actually she was. So, not sure what's going on there. So, apologies. There's a little bit of a delay between us tonight, guys. All good. Look, I'll go through the next game. It's the early tip-off on Sunday afternoon, Melbourne United against New Zealand. So, of course, New Zealand's on the road like they've been for about the last year. So, yeah, I'll say United to win that one. Not overly convinced about that one. Look, not just saying this because I'm a Wildcats tragic there, but really looking forward to this game. 4:00 on Sunday, we've got Perth Wildcats against the much improved Brisbane Bullets there. And of course, we get to see Aaron Baines and Tyler Johnson there. So looking forward to that. What are your thoughts on that one, Woods? Do you think Perth will be good at home, or do you see Brisbane pulling an upset?
Yeah, I'm not too. I mean, everyone's really high on Brisbane, but they don't have any depth, man. If you look at that team, right? I think Perth are going to be really good this year. I think they'll get the job done.
Yeah. And then for obviously those that are in New South Wales, and I'm not sure what other states, but I know we've got one. We've got a public holiday on Monday. So Tasmania taking on Cairns. And now I think Cairns over and under was about 7 for the season, Wood. So they're projected to have a really poor season there. So what are your thoughts? I know you're a bit of a Cairns, it's your second team there, but can you see Cairns getting an upset, or you think Tasmania at home?
Hell yeah, I'm going Cairns on that one.
Okay, interesting. Well, it's certainly one that they could pull an upset. I mean, so Tasmania is the only team with the double this week, right? So, it'll be interesting to sort of see what happens with that. But, no, good stuff. So, yeah, as we said, round one, just less than 48 hours away. And, really looking forward for the games to begin.
Adelaide's obviously travelling.
Good stuff, Woods.
Adelaide's obviously travelling to the USA, right? So, yeah.
Of course, I believe those games are going to be on KO Freebies. I don't think they're on ESPN. But, it'd be great to sort of watch those. I think Antonius Cleveland's basically said that they're going over and they intend to win one of those games, right? So he's obviously sort of putting a bit of pressure on the team. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. We've seen some of these NBL teams go over there and have some close games, and we've also seen a few thumpings over the years. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, they're a little bit more, in sort of season form now than what some of these NBA teams are like. So good stuff, Woods. Well, look, I guess that's the end of our sort of NBL sort of part for the show. We might just do a couple of quick hits, Wood, just to sort of take us through some stuff there. So there's been a bit of news in the NBA this week out of Boston and Phoenix. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually involve any players there. So why don't you talk to us about the situation in Boston there, Woods, with Udoka and your thoughts on that?
Udoka has Nia Long at home, man. What's he doing?
He doesn't now. Yeah.
He doesn't. Yeah. Well, the news out of Boston is he's had an affair with a staff member, and what I'm hearing, and look, I'm just going to be completely transparent. I don't know everything that went on, but what I'm hearing is initially it was a consensual relationship, but then he started making unwanted advances towards this woman after the relationship was fizzling out.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I said, don't know all the details. I don't want to comment here, but Boston, they don't need this in the lead up to the season. After the great run they had last year, we've just found out that Gallinari's out for the year. The Time Lord's out for half the year now. Udoka is out for the whole season. It's not what they wanted,
Robert Williams is injured. You serious? Yeah. Oh, I'm absolutely shocked about that. Wow. But, look, it's tough, isn't it? They had everything sort of, they recruited well in the off-season there. I'm a little bit like you, Woods, a little bit reserving judgment. When the news first came out, I'm like, are you kidding me? And it sounded a little bit, a little bit harsh for Udoka, but there's definitely, I think, a little bit more than meets the eye with this story, and obviously the things that prompted this investigation there internally with the Celtics. So I guess final one on that, Woods, do you think Udoka will be back, or have we seen the last of him coaching the Celtics?
That's it. And he's going to find it hard to get another job. He's going to find it hard to get another job as a head coach in the NBA. I think this is not good.
It's just, No, it's certainly big news and not what the Celtics needed. So, and look, I guess a little bit with the Robert Sarver situation in Phoenix. We won't go too much into that one, but obviously everyone sort of, heard the reports that, there's been an investigation going on by the league, and they've interviewed, a number of sort of, current and former employees of the Suns team there. And look, I guess just in my mind, he just sounds like another one of these just rich, entitled, people that just think they can just treat people however they want their woods. So I think the news has come out now. Obviously, he is suspended for the season, but he is going to be looking to sell the team. So
Yep.
I believe he's like maybe a 30 to 40% owner of the team there. So he's the majority owner. But so it'll be interesting to see whether he basically, I think there's a clause there that he can basically choose to sell the team, or whether, they'll potentially buy his stake out there. But yeah, I think this has been happening in American sports for too long. It's kind of the rich, white, privileged owner there that's had everything their own way pretty much their whole life. And, they just don't know how to sort of treat people. And some of the things that came out of that report there, the way he sort of treats women and, sort of just people of colour and other stuff like that, there's just no place for it in 2022. So I'm glad that the league came down. Look, I think there was a little bit of pressure, wasn't there? I think some of the players weren't happy about the suspension, the fact he'd be back. I heard reports that Steph Curry basically got on the phone to Adam Silver and voiced his displeasure and that of other players there. So, yeah, I think the decision's kind of just been taken out now. And I know a lot of the sponsors were going to pull out as well, weren't they, if he was to continue there. So, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think both of those teams, certainly both would be considered contenders in the East and the West, respectively there. So certainly not what you want, isn't it? Less than a month out with the season starting there to have, like I said, all this big news now, it's not really involving any actual players. So, yeah, very interesting to see what will end up happening there. But look, in terms of Sarver, so he probably just needs to sell his stake in the team, then head to the retirement home with a bit of grace, I would have thought. So, enjoy that weather in Phoenix and give that ownership to someone that's actually going to, treat people like human beings. So, all right, well said, Woods. Well, look, the next part here, we've been getting a lot of requests these last few weeks, haven't we? Everyone's like, where's Classic Packs? We've been missing Classic Packs. So I believe Classic Packs is back right this week, Woods.
It's been weeks, man. It's been weeks.
It has been, yeah.
I've got the 92-93 flares today, Robbie.
Lovely.
And
nice shiny looking pack. Very good.
I thought,
I'll see if I'm still in form with guessing these players. It's been such a while now. I'll make sure I'm still in my A game here.
Exactly, buddy. Let's just see after a bit of a break if you've still got the good old Midas touch, let's say. Right?
You can hear how crisp that pack sounds when you open it. I like the sound of that.
Okay. We've talked about this guy as I think 1988 Olympian, okay? Played previously for the Hornets and then for the Spurs. Number 7.
J.R. Reid?
Talking about J.R. Reid.
Ooh, I haven't lost my touch. Nice. I'm loving those Denver Nuggets jerseys in that shot as well. Lovely.
Okay, at the Portland Trail Blazers, we had Doc and... Who?
Oh, Buck Williams.
Oh, sorry.
Buck Williams.
Yes, but not Buck Williams. Same name. But this guy played...
Buck Johnson.
Buck Johnson. Yes.
Nice. That's a nice little hook shot he's doing there. Mate, I'm 2 for 2. I'm liking this so far. These are pretty nice cards as well, weren't they? They were the kind of the fancy Fleer ones they put out of that year. They had the normal Fleer ones and the Fleer Ultra ones.
This is controversial that I'm going to say this, but shout out to Stewie because he did his special on this particular draft, Stewie and Nate on the Sport Blokes. And he's the first round pick 17 in the, I think it was the 1991, 90 draft maybe. And he probably murdered his girlfriend. He's from the Phoenix Suns.
Blanket on that one. Give me a jersey number.
Jersey number 0. And he probably...
That's a big claim. I can't actually remember who that is. I did listen to their draft.
Jared Mustaf.
I'm blanking on that one there. Yes. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, he had an interesting short career, didn't he? And that's probably the reason why, right?
Yep.
Interesting one. No, I wouldn't have got that one.
Yeah. He didn't want his girlfriend to have that baby and whatnot, and he tried to pay her off and things like that.
Yeah, I do remember that story now. That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man. Okay, this is a guy whose name I haven't heard in a while, okay? He shares the same name as Skip Tomailu, and he played the guard forward position, and he was a New Jersey Nets, all right? Same
Derek
first name.
Alston.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Derek Alston?
I got it completely wrong.
Factoring in the delay with your internet? Yeah.
I got it completely wrong. That's the wrong clue. His first name is that of a Ninja Turtle, the Red Ninja Turtle.
Mate, never got into the Ninja Turtles myself.
Okay, Raphael
let's
Addison.
see. Wow.
Do you know who that
I
is?
don't even know if I remember that guy there, Woods. Nah, don't know much about him at all. Interesting.
Okay, this is a guy I've never heard of, and if you've heard of him, I'm really surprised. I can't give you any clues. His name is Lance Blanks.
Oh, I remember Lance Blanks, of course, for the Timberwolves. Yep, definitely remember him. Come on, you could have given me a clue. I would have got that. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not shooting blanks, right?
No, he's not.
True.
Okay, Milwaukee Bucks forward. 00. Come on, man.
Milwaukee Bucks forward 00.
He likes to vent. Anthony A. Vent.
This is wow. This is an ordinary pack, Woods. What's going on? Where's the superstars? We've got Lance Blanks and Anthony Avant, some guy that killed his girlfriend, another guy we didn't know. What's going on?
The coolest white boy ever. He was on the Orlando Magic, number 40. Okay, but he also played on that Golden State Warriors run TMC team. Probably Andrew Kenyon's favorite player of all time. We're talking about...
Oh, not the clerk.
No. He played on that team with Run TMC. Okay, Manute Bol, Golden State Warriors. But this is his number 40 Magic jersey.
Oh, Tom Talbot?
Tommy Talbot.
Tommy Talbot. Nice.
All right.
Blast from the past. Come on, any chance of a superstar in this pack?
Yeah, right now. Arguably the greatest power forward of all time. One of the greatest dynamic duos of all time.
Does he deliver on Sundays by any chance?
He delivers on Sundays.
Oh, the mailman. Oh, he's throwing down that patented dunk as well. That's a nice one. What does that say on? Is that a special type of card, Woods, or is that just a normal?
Dunk rank 17. So NBA Jam session. It was the 17th ranked dunk of 90.
Okay.
Of the year 90, whatever.
He did have about the least variety of dunks that I've ever seen. To be honest,
92, 93.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's another one. This is dunk rank number 8, NBA Jam session. New Jersey Nets number 34.
Chris Morris, of course, he was famous for shattering a backboard as well. He sort of joined that club with Shaq and a few others and actually brought down a backboard once, I think, actually in New Jersey.
This is a guy that your brothers hung out with from the LA Clippers, man, and had a night out with. For all our listeners who listened to the episode with Matt Clayton.
Stanley
Roberts.
Wow. Can you tell me what his listed weight is on the back of that card there, Woods? We're talking 270 pounds or something, or
290, bro.
290. Wow. Yeah, that's a big boy, right?
Okay, I mean, probably unheralded, man. This guy from that Rockets team of the 90s doesn't get spoken about much. Number 7, came off the bench, a bit of a role player.
Is he whitey?
No, he's black. He is a forward. His name is Carl.
Number 7. Oh, Carl Herrera. Yeah. Venezuela's finest, right?
Hell yeah.
Nice. I think Kevin McHale might be about to block him in that card, though, by the looks. I don't think he's going to get that over the big man there. Look at that. He was actually all right, Carl Herrera.
He was.
Yep.
He was.
You're right. He was unheralded. Yeah.
Okay. Big man. Center for the Lakers. Solid player in the 90s. Came to the fore with the LA Clippers initially before moving to the Lakers. Yep. Number 53. Okay, you good with numbers?
53, and he played for both LA teams.
Yep.
Any other clues? Give me
James
college
Edwards.
or something.
James Edwards.
Buddha. James Buddha Edwards. Of course, he was famous for playing with Detroit Pistons back in the day.
Okay, I don't know either of these guys. Denver Nuggets forward. Number 45. Averaged 3.8 points per game for Golden State. And then moved to the Nuggets. Not drafted, Boston University. Gary Plummer. There's
Who?
no way you know this guy.
This might be the worst pack we've ever had, just quietly.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And finally,
Gary Plummer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And finally, forward center from Miami Heat. Number 33, white guy. Worst haircut ever. First round pick 12. Doesn't even tell me what year he was drafted. Average 5.3 points a game.
Geiger.
Alec Kessler.
Nice.
This is the worst pack
Look
ever.
at that hair. Jeez. It's absolutely the worst pack I've ever seen. So we had Karl Malone. Wow, look at that guy. Can he open his mouth anymore for that one? So Karl Malone, was there actually anyone good in that pack at all apart from him? Who was the second best player after?
J.R. Reid was there.
Oh, great.
The guy who killed his girlfriend. Anthony Event, Tom Tolbert, Karl Malone. Chris Morris was okay, yeah?
All right, yeah.
Terrible pack.
Wow. Interesting pack, but no, it was good to get back into it, though. That certainly got me sort of guessing, and there was a few there that we definitely never heard of there. Like, who was that Plummer guy? I'm going to have to look him up after we finish recording because I do not remember that guy. Or Gary Plummer, did you say?
Yep. Gary Plummer, yeah. Yeah, that's him.
Gary Plummer, wow. Shout out to Gary Plummer. Well, no, I appreciate that one, Woods. Looking forward to do some more classic packs over the coming weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I guess...
Sorry, audience, about that really shitty pack. Yeah.
And sorry for Woody's internet too. All right, so I guess that takes us to the outro there, Wood. So, look, as I mentioned at the start of the show, please, subscribe to our show on YouTube or, download the audio wherever you listen to your podcast. Of course, we can be followed on Twitter, Instagram. We've got our email address there. So on Twitter, we're at Throwbacks Hoops. Instagram, we're throwback.hoops. And our email address is the throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. So why don't you take it away with a bit of a Patreon details there, Woods?
Yeah, jump on Patreon and follow us. Really appreciate all the support. And yeah, thanks to all our Patreon members.
Good stuff. And of course, obviously, those that don't understand Patreon, there's a lot of costs that are involved with putting these shows together. I think people think that, you start doing a podcast and you're making money. Absolutely not the case. We obviously pay hosting fees for the podcast. We pay subscriptions for Adobe for the, the editing that I try and do a good job of every week, amongst a few other things there with the cost. But really appreciate any support you can give us, guys. And look, I guess just before we wrap it up, so I just want to sort of talk about our teams in the NBL. So, of course, we're talking the Wildcats and the Kings there. Who's going to finish higher on the ladder? This is your time to tell me.
I'm going to say that the Kings and the Wildcats are going to be 1 and 2 on the ladder this year, right?
Ooh, interesting. Yep.
I think we've got the 2 best squads, the most depth. So I'm obviously going to say the Kings, but I think the Wildcats have got a really good team. And Corey Webster, sneaky good addition.
Absolutely. Yeah, I called that when they signed him, didn't they? So, I agree. It's going to be very similar. I'd be very surprised if both didn't make the finals. And that's saying a little bit, obviously, with the way Wildcats finished last year. But I think they have improved their team and certainly look like they've improved their coach as well. So I guess just to talk a little bit about the upcoming weeks there, Wood. So, obviously we finished our NBL team previews. Maybe next week we might just do a couple of predictions, right? We did that last season. We haven't had a chance to get to it now. So, some MVP predictions and a few things like that. But we'll also start ramping it up a little bit with the NBA stuff as well. So I know we're going to sort of go through and give some, predictions and some tips and everything for that upcoming season. So really looking forward to that. And look, Woody did mention at the start of the show, but it is his birthday tomorrow. So I wanted to give a big shout out to you there, Woods. Thanks, I know you'll be having a big night tomorrow, and then I'll be seeing you Saturday. So be interesting to see what sort of shape you're in on Saturday there, Woods. But looking forward to go and grab a steak and get a nice cold drink with you before those games starts on Saturday. So shout out to you, Woods, and just wanted to thank everyone again for tuning into the show. Final word for the birthday boy.
Get behind the Opals, we really appreciate the outpouring of support from the Australian public, the New South Wales public. But some really big games here for Australian basketball and women's basketball, and just get out there if you can, and support the Opals. Yeah. Well said, birthday boy. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in, and a big peace out, the Throwback Hoops crew.